the art of showing up daily? Well, I do think it's an art. And I do think that it all pretty much boils down to building habits that support the life you want to live. And more importantly, create that space for the things that you want more of in life. And I do believe that creating and sharing what we create is the purest form of contribution. So if you are into art, making music, writing books, whatever your thing is, or you just want to discuss your mindset work to improve your everyday life, I do think that when we create content regarding that and share that on our own stages, meaning that we are not depending on our environment to have the time to actually allow us to share what we've created. And that's the beauty of YouTube. It is your own stage, and yes, even if you want to attract audience, you want to attract your tribe, you want to attract people that resonate. But I do think that true power and true value comes when we actually focus on ourselves first. And don't get me wrong, if you want to create a successful business and if you want to make money on YouTube, yeah, of course, you have to have your audience in mind. But where I do think that many of us goes wrong is that we are forgetting about ourselves. We are caught up in all the strategies and tips, and they could be awesome, but we are not asking the right questions. Let's say that you hear about a new strategy that promise that you will blow up on YouTube in 30 days or 90 days or whatever. And I'm not saying that it will not work, but the number one question is, yeah, but does this path feels like a path that I would enjoy? If the answer is yes, well, you go for it, try it out. Life is about exploring and having fun. Instead of taking ourselves too seriously, I think that we should take our dreams seriously, because they are the vibrant life within us, the fuel for the ride, the journey we call life. But in terms of exploring the journey, I do think that we get caught up in the illusion of perfectionism and all these BS that our conditioned mind is throwing at the road ahead, keeping us from actually trying. So when it comes to show up for yourself and you find a new strategy, a new system, ask the question and listen to the answer. What does it feel like? Does this path feel exciting or something that you really think could work without abandoning your purpose and your unique why? And even so, we can apply the power of mindset work. So if we find a strategy that everybody swears by and we are a little bit, I don't know, if we find it possible to apply a perspective so that this strategy feels like something enjoyable, well, there we have it again. Go for it. But don't forget about yourself in your business. Whether or not you want to share your art, create content and just share it with the world, I do think that many of us have this dream at least to be able to monetize it further along the way. And there's nothing wrong with that, because money is just a currency, a value exchange. And if you could go and live your life providing value from a place of alignment, from a place of joy, the money itself is just a mirror of a deeper manifestation. The time freedom, and more importantly, the freedom to do more of what you love. But why do we often, or many of us, struggle with showing up for ourselves? Well, I think there's a lot of different dimensions to it, and your reasons may not look exactly like mine, but I have this function of my mind called ADHD, and since I were a kid, I've always felt like I don't function the same way that everybody around me seem to do pretty well, or have accepted at least. I've always have this different seasons of hyper focus, and where I can go on for days without eating and do 2 months work in 1 week. And then I have those days when motivation is low. And yeah, motivation is something that you create by doing. We all know that. But when the hormones in your brain is so low that it feels like a physical resistance to do something. And that has been my struggle. And I've secretly always hated the word balance, because I felt like when I tried to apply the tips of being and living more in balance, I felt like not only didn't it allow me to be this hyper creative in periods, I felt like I lowered my contribution, I lowered my energy levels in the illusion that I would have raised the bar of the periods where I felt low. And it was not until I heard about the concept of law of rhythm that states that everything in this universe is energy, and we all know that, but everything has its rhythm. We have night and day, we have different seasons, combined with what I've always felt like a young teenager when I used to joke that I should live in Mediterranean, where they have siesta, because I've always felt after lunch and up until, I don't know, after dinner, I was often so low. I could not, all I wanted to, relax. Not super attractive when it comes to being a coworker at a business, but I found strategies to cope with that. But the point that I'm trying to make here, that the art of showing up is to listen to yourself, and by asking the right questions. What feels good to you? Because without the feeling, what's the point? If somebody would give me the greatest strategy that I would apply and I would have success like that, meaning whatever success means, meaning that I would make a ton of money from going viral or whatever. But what does it feel like? If I don't talk about the subject, the topics that I want to talk about, or if I cannot create from a place of alignment like this, I do believe that structure and all is good. But sometimes I feel that when I'm sharing from a place of inspired creation, I do think that is when we are the most tapped into our soul or spirit or whatever we want to call it. And when we share that right away, it's fresh from the source. And yeah, we can use that energy and transform it into different types of applications and all of that. But if we lose the connection, trying to make sense, trying to go viral, trying to make it more intellectual, digestible, what's the point? What's the point if we don't live life through high, vibrant feelings? Success means nothing if we don't enjoy once we get there, but also the ride there, the journey there. So showing up for yourself is an art, and there are so many different systems that you can build. I talked about success habits, like I like to call them. And for me, I know that I need to follow my inner law of rhythm, where I have these periods of highs, and then I have what I call my recovery periods. Because I've learned that trying to reduce the highs does not improve the lower periods, if that makes sense. But with that being said, I have systems in place, but I'm also working on building better systems. For one example, I know that I need to exercise daily, and for me that basically means that I need to take a walk of a minimum 60 minutes. 90 minutes is better because it helps my brain function. It helps me a lot. But I also want my stage of creation to have a natural place in my everyday life, and therefore I have this thing that I call the 15 minutes to success. I named it many years ago, but it all boils down to at least at a minimum of 50 minutes daily, do something creative. And since I've recently discovered vlogging as a wonderful way to not only capture moments and highlights of the day, but also use the mundane things, the things that I don't instantly see beauty in if I don't train my mind to do so, to see that, to apply the perspective of beauty, of creating. And I've also started this thing called Limitless Creator's Path, inspired by the artist way, where I every morning sit down to write in my journal. Not the gratitude practice that I often do. I have room for that as well. But I sit down and let everything that is circling in my mind, the negative thought patterns and negative emotions, I use this session as a way to detect that and not capture it to make something out of it, but rather to illuminate and dissolve the negative programs. But also, and this is my recommendation for you, if you're writing books, for example, or lyrics or poems, to use those negative emotions as context for your art or as the context for your storytelling. I went from feeling down and depressed to the desired outcome. And then you have, even the bad moments, as if we should call them that, but the negative moments as something to create something beautiful out of. So showing up for yourself, for myself, it's not like I have the solution, but I would invite you to join me on this path, on this creative path, if it feels like, this is the path that you want to walk as well. Because showing up for yourself is not, for me in a way, about productivity hacks, even if they can be useful. I'm not against that. But showing up for yourself in a way so that every day matters. Being present on days when you don't maybe feel that creative outlet pulsing within you, but also have a system, have a strategy to apply to be creative. By applying the 15 minutes method, if that is something that sounds like you would like to do. I have a link in the description below if you want to check it out. And what I really want with this video is to inspire you, and remember, it's not about what I'm saying, it's just what you discover within yourself, to inspire you to make this year, starting with this year at least, and all the years to come, but making this year using the concepts of time, the concepts of days, and make every day matters. Even the days that you normally would just let pass, maybe as a bad day or not as that exciting memory, but that could be the day that you actually made your first YouTube video or made your first vlog video. So I hope this made sense. If it did, consider to subscribe and join the Creator's Path, the Limitless Creator's Path with me. And I hope to see you in the next video.